yeah, and show it to the.
I'm going in for 10 years. No parole.
So, Miron with us now.
Right.
Would you could you tell us a bit about yourself?
Okay.
What do you do?
Okay, I'm Myron Joshua, originally from the United States. After high school, I came to Israel for a year, which happened to be 1966 and 1967, on a program on a kibbutz, where we worked and where we studied. After that, I went back to the United States to the university and joined the group of people that were on that program that wanted to come back to Israel to live on a kibbutz, to settle on a kibbutz in the religious kibbutz movement. And the religious kibbutz movement had asked us to join the newly formed kibbutz of Kfar Etzion, where I live now.
And so, actually, you have a very interesting perspective of the relations between Israeli and Palestinians, because you've been to the as an American in origin, Israeli from the national religious sector. What are your conclusions?
Not only the conclusions, there are no conclusions.
Okay.
There's only processes. There's no conclusions. Hopefully there is hope, and there's not much of that either. But that doesn't mean that we have to stop. Not only am I from the religious sector, but I live on Kibbutz Kfar Etzion, which is in Gush Etzion, just about 10 or 15 kilometers south of us here. Kfar Etzion was actually one of the first settlements that were started after the Six-Day War. And I was just asked by one of our friends from Bethlehem, so what are you doing there on the settlement? Or she said, what are you doing here? I thought she meant, what am I doing in MEPEACE? And she said, no, what are you doing in the settlement of Kfar Etzion? And actually, before I came to live in Israel in 1971, it was a question that I asked myself, because following the Six-Day War, I believed and hoped that King Hussein, no one was talking about Palestinian options then, we were talking about King Hussein would maybe come and make peace, that would happen. And actually the people of Kfar Etzion were told by Levi Eshkol, the prime minister, that they cannot go to Kfar Etzion, which is the place where their parents had lived before 1948. It was, right? And it was overrun during the War of Independence, so these people could not go back to their old home, because Levi Eshkol said he wants to wait for King Hussein, and King Hussein didn't call. Still, that didn't make it that much easier for me, because I was looking to the future and said, so maybe not today, but tomorrow there will be some kind of a peace agreement. I don't want to do anything that is going to get into the way of that. I spoke to people and differentiated for myself between coming to Gush Etzion and other settlements that began forming in later years, for example, on Hebron, where Kiryat Arba started. And I also came knowing that in the end, if there would be a peace agreement that would be dependent on where I live or not, I would not be in the way of that peace agreement.
Could I be the devil's advocate here and ask you a question that is a bit defying? Do you think that you said you were waiting for something to happen, for a peace process to start? Do you think you might have been part of the prevention of this process by settling in the West Bank?
There's no question about it in my mind that then I was not part of any prevention. That was not the issue.
Is it the issue today?
I think if I would come on Aliyah today, where I would go and how I would live might be affected, right? And when did that change? Did it change when finally, in 1988, was it that Arafat recognized Israel's right? It could be, but then by then, it was a different ball game. And like you say, you take a look at perspectives, how things change. I sit here and hear people, Palestinians and Jews, saying the two-state solution is no longer a solution. We have to think of something different. Partly because things that you might think were politically or morally bad, the settlements, and also partly because of the connections that really exist between peoples that live on both sides of the border.
And what about the notion of Jewish state? You see it giving way to the notion of one state, which is not exactly nationless, but not Jewish.
Put it this way, I'm politically naive and stupid, and prefer to stay on the human level. So I'm willing that all these options would be open, as long as things develop in a humane and in a dynamics with a social way, where we can meet people and talk with people and learn to live together. So either we'll live together alongside each other in two separate states, or in a confederation, or in one state. And if it becomes a new kind of an entity that our peoples can keep our cultural heritage and develop them one alongside and with each other, fadlak, that's fine by me.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Can you summarize your message for the future in one sentence?
I like the line that I try to remain humane during this human conflict, and being humane means also doubting things that I do and having to look painfully at some of the things that I let happen without always knowing that they happen, and trying to open doors and keep my ears open as well.